Before fame, the struggles of Bini. Everyone sees the lights, the music, the viral performances. But what about the sleepless nights, the silent tears, and the battles fought far from the spotlight? Before they became icons of modern Filipino pop, Bini was just a group of young girls trying to survive their dreams. This is the story you didn't see. The story that will move you, challenge you, and remind you that greatness never comes easy. If you like this type of stories, please like, share, and subscribe for more. Long before the glitz of music videos and the roar of screaming fans, there was a room, plain, cold, and quiet, where 8 girls gathered every morning before the sun rose. Not to enjoy fame, but to build it from scratch. Aya, Khalid, Gwen, Joanna, Malloy, Mika, Sheena, and Stacy didn't start out as the confident, stylish performers we know today. They were simply passionate teens with a dream to become something more, to represent something bigger. But dreams don't come free. In 2018, they entered Star Hun Academy, a training ground designed not to pamper, but to polish. Their days began early and ended late. Grueling hours of vocal warm-ups, intense dance drills, and lessons in media handling, character building, and language training. They practiced until their voices cracked, until their feet ached, until even smiling felt exhausting. Some days, they didn't want to get up. Some days, they cried in bathrooms or in corners of rehearsal rooms, wondering if the pain would ever be worth it. They missed birthdays, graduations, and holidays with their families. While their classmates posted selfies at malls or beaches, they stayed in the studio, battling fatigue, frustration, and self-doubt. The training was not just physical, it was mental warfare. They were constantly evaluated, constantly compared, constantly reminded that any moment they could be cut. The pressure was real. The expectations were sky-high. And yet, none of them gave up. Why? Because they believed in the vision. They believed that Filipino talent deserves the global stage. They believed that their pain had purpose. There were moments of joy too, of course. Small victories, nailing a routine, mastering a vocal run, getting a nod from their mentors, kept them going. These moments were rare but golden, like rays of sun piercing through storm clouds. In 2020, just as they were gearing up for their debut, the pandemic hit. For most people, the world slowed down. But for Bini, time became their enemy. Would they still debut? Would they still matter? In the isolation of lockdown, they faced their greatest challenge, yet how to keep believing when the future felt so uncertain. Instead of breaking down, they doubled down. They trained virtually. They supported each other like sisters. They turned fear into fuel. In October 2020, they released a Coconut Nut as a pre-debut single. It was lighthearted, fun, and very Filipino, yet many critics didn't understand it. Some laughed, some mocked, but Bini took it in stride. Because behind the quirky concept was a quiet rebellion. We're not trying to copy anyone. We're here to be original. We're here to be ourselves. That mindset would become their trademark. When they finally debuted officially in 2021 with Born to Win, everything changed. Their training, their sacrifices, their struggles, it all made sense. The same girls who once cried in silence now stood tall in front of thousands, delivering powerful performances with confidence and pride. But they never forgot where they came from. Bini speaks openly about their struggles, never sugarcoating the path they took. And that's what makes them so real, so inspiring. They show us that success doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from sweat, scars, and staying the course when it gets hard. They also remind us that behind every performance are stories you'll never see. Stories of girls who once doubted themselves, who once feared they weren't enough, but chose to believe anyway. That's what makes Bini different. They're not just performers, they're survivors. Survivors of doubt. Survivors of a system that tests you to your core. Survivors of a world that told them, you're just from the Philippines, stay in your lane. But they didn't stay in their lane. They built their own road. Now they stand not just as artists, but as symbols. Symbols of what can happen when young Filipinos are given the chance, the training, and the trust to shine. Symbols of how resilience and heart can transform a struggle into a triumph. Final thought. Bini's struggles before fame aren't just their story, they're our story. The story of anyone who's ever had to fight for a dream in silence. The story of every Filipino youth who's been told you can't and dared to say, I will. And now we ask you, what part of Bini's journey speaks to your own struggles? Do you believe our country needs to support more dreamers like them? Let's reflect, grow, and share the light together.